we have the new Redline by TPT. So people would have been familiar with, you played the original version.
Yep, for about a year I had that one.
Yeah,
yep.
You played the Justin Rose version, so it was the
15 series.
The 15 LKP LT, I believe it was.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yep.
Which was their sort of slightly more tip stiff, low torque version.
Yep. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, you did like it, didn't you?
Yep.
You had some good performance. It was very interesting when you started hitting a few with this and warming up. You kind of went, I just like these shafts.
There was a familiarity with it. Yeah, I had that in my G400 LST.
That's right.
And that's a good kind of driving season with that. So
driver, yeah,
good memories.
So this has been a little bit of a reset. I think that's fair to say for TPT. There were some high-profile issues with some shafts and in TV events and some other times where there was the odd shaft that was maybe breaking. Personally, I felt like that was blown out of proportion a little bit.
It gets exaggerated, obviously, in the media. I'm sure as a percentage it was very few, but it happens.
It happens, and it has such a price point that it shouldn't happen.
Correct.
I think that's what we all feel as a retailer. I feel like that, and I know as consumers, you guys feel that way. So, but one thing I will say is just a little asterisk is no manufacturer is sort of immune to that happening.
For sure.
Everyone has at times, defects in the process, and it's sometimes hard to identify that. So
true enough.
But we're not defending it. We're not sort of excusing it. It shouldn't happen. We were looking for 100% success rate when it comes to the QC on these products.
Definitely.
Especially when you're paying $500 US, which is the price point on the TPT
Super
shaft.
premium shaft.
So they've sort of re-looked at it. The profiles are different. Mm-hmm. They're looking at the spec sheets. They are different. They're still going with the kind of 14 up to 20 series. So as you progress from a low number up to a high number, the shaft gets softer, gets lighter.
Yep.
There is a really meaty 14 low.
That thing's crazy.
Is an 84 gram, 2.5 degree torque beast.
It's a monster. Probably one of the stiffest shafts, along with the Hulk and a couple others.
If we were doing our stiffest shaft test, that would be in the mix, no question.
And the one that LA Golf sent us would probably be up there too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So, a little bit again to revisit some of the TPT unique sort of the value proposition in that is the continuous fiber. So it's not made in a traditional sense. TPT is going with a really, really premium carbon fiber. There's no other materials in there like Kevlar and boron and some of these other materials we talk about. This is a continuous carbon fiber shaft. TPT, their claim is that they can completely eliminate the potential for there to be a spine or a spot on the shaft, on the 360 degrees of the shaft, where the shaft could be compromised from a deflection standpoint.
So it should be purely consistent in any orientation.
Yeah, the concentric consistency of the shaft should be perfect. And the other part of that with the process they have and the way they make the shafts is that they can make them exactly the same time after time after time after time.
So consistency should be up there with the best.
Yeah, so, you've got on one side of the fence, you've got people who say, we handcraft ours. Ours are hand done. That's how we control the quality. And then the other guys on the other side of the fence go, well, humans are prone to errors. So we actually make ours through machine and we can make them more consistent by making them on machine. I can get both sides of that. I really can. So not to say one is right or one is wrong.
Just the angle that they've taken.
Yeah, each company has their own methodology and their own process. And, all we're here to do is to test it in order to see if they're validating what they're saying.
Yep. And I think time will obviously tell on the quality control. They've clearly taken a ton of steps to rectify the issues that they had. So I don't think we're going to be able to test that today.
No.
But they're back on the wall and we've got a full season to see how they do. And hopefully that isn't a problem anymore.
So you have the 15 series in the high, which is their slightly higher torque, slightly softer profile. Something that we think will match for you quite nicely.
Yeah.
265 CPM, which is a little bit softer than you have been playing.
Right.
Your Ventus was about 274.
Right.
Your RPG that you've been playing is 280 CPM.
Okay.
Really quite stout.
So a little step below those.
So the TPT is a little bit softer, but you are working on some things in your swing. We will see you today a bit more like 114, 115 club head speed.
Yeah.
So this shaft actually is going to sit in a really nice little
I think it'll be perfect for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be
should do
perfect
for
that.
sure. 72 grams, a little bit more torque as well than some of the other shafts you've been playing in your Freaky Deaky.
D4.
D4,
Exactly.
right where you like it.
A little better.
Like it. It's nice.
Yeah, I always felt with the previous one too that like it never felt stiff, it never felt loose, it never felt, it just felt good. And I think this one has the same kind of characteristics.
I can't wait to get it on gears.
Yeah, you
That'll
just think
be
it'll
great.
be an interesting
Yeah,
kind of,
just when I hear things like that from players, my mind just goes to what does that tell me about how it's deflecting? How is that painting a picture? Why does it feel like that for Matt? And that just leads me into I start like picturing all these like deflections. You know, what is it about that shaft? And it's obviously loading, but it's in the right place at the right time for you to feel that way. And I like to associate numbers to that.
so yeah, the positive reaction gets quantified by the deflection numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. And yeah, I'd be awfully pleased with 3 fairways in a row.
I think what's going to devastate people is how easy you're making it look to hit it 300 yards here.
I know.
Looks like you're in
Does it look
slow motion.
goofy?
It's good though. I mean,
But
it's
it's all
nice.
it's all transition based.
Yeah.
It's just there's no angles being added.
Well, even when your loft dips down, you're still able to retain
I
all
know.
the integrity of the loft and the face.
The club
good.
face just isn't very. I mean, you've seen me when I'm struggling. I can vary that club face 8 degrees in either direction. And it leads to a nightmare. This is giving me G400 LST vibes here.
Okay,
Sound
so
and feel and everything. It's giving me that kind of. Yeah, 117.
those are great. 165. 165 is as good as I've got.
It's not any. I mean, club head speed wise, it's what 3 miles an hour different than
great.
where I usually am. So
That's the thing. And
doesn't matter really.
No. It's good.
It's a push. So I still hit the fairway though. Yeah, I just feel like the club face is
It's with you. You feel like
square.
it's
Yeah, like a crap shot at this point is either just going to be bad strikes. I think that's what it feels like to me.
So smooth, not overly stiff, stout. You're not getting any of those sensations from it.
I'm getting no feel that I need to swing harder to make it work.
Right.
And I just feel, I don't know if I've said this to you before, but there's certain shafts we try where it's like what you said, I feel that they just return to the right spot without any effort.
Yeah.
I think timing is either just suitable to me or it's enhanced by the way it kicks, one of the two. But it just feels good. I just kind of just feel like the face has mostly been around 1 degree of target or whatever the metric is there. Try to swoop one a little bit here.
Well, up until this point, you've not missed a fairway to start with.
Not missed the fairway yet, which is a joke. That one was just not close enough to draw.
That was a lovely strike as well.
I feel like I'm striking this a little bit more consistently than the RPG.
Let's see if that's very centered.
Yeah, and low center, which is for me is a dream. Low center is a great situation. Love a low center.
That would be a nice spot to be at.
That's better. It's a little bit of a draw. Yeah, I mean, if I went and hit 9, 10 drives and they were all
all in play like that.
Yeah, one in the rough, but all in play, I'd be ecstatic.
If we pull up your averages here, Matty boy, let's see where you're at. So look at
strike
that
pattern, silly.
cluster, perfect cluster. Averaging 281, 300. Those look like my numbers.
I know.
163. They really look like my numbers.
2600. Like it's good. I mean, that's
good, isn't it?
I like seeing that because then I could you know me, I tend to tee it low because I'm terrified of
Yeah.
hitting a quacker.
The first one spun up a little bit. Other
Yep.
than that, you've been in such a nice neutral zone from a spin standpoint. Look how consistent that launch was. Again, I'm going to pop that first one out, actually.
Yeah, it was just a
That one was
spinning one.
So other than that, you've been, average has been very consistent. The launch has been super consistent. Spin is as well. And obviously from a dispersion standpoint, you've mostly kind of hit it a little bit out to the right. Let's probably see that should be more open face than anything.
Just a bit of face, yeah.
Just a little open face to the target.
Which is good. I think that's an easy adjustment to play with. I'd rather have a pattern of slightly open and then go, okay, well then go after them a bit and I'm sure it will come back to center.
So having hit it,
yeah.
Who's the player that should be looking at this as a great option for them?
So 15 high, 72 grams-ish it was. Are all the high profiles similar, but just the flex rating changes?
One thing I'll say about them is they're heavier than I've seen their shafts in the past. They were quite light last time, and this time they've added some weight.
So I would say it doesn't feel or play heavy. I'm not sure if that's because the balance point is maybe lower down. Yeah. I don't feel heft to it. I think if you're the super kind of quick transition person, clearly the 14 series can help you just fine.
84-gram beast.
I mean, that's as stiff as you need. But for anyone else who feels that they're a smooth transition, they just kind of want to have a consistent club face and just a nice fairway finding shaft, this is as good as I've hit a driver in a while, that's for sure. And I don't think, it's not like that wouldn't translate if I started swinging faster again. Yeah. I think you may just consider going to the stiffer one to hang on to it a bit more. But for how it feels, it doesn't feel stiff at all, but I think it performs very stable.
So why don't we do, we should do a little test with the high-low versions.
So let's go with low instead.
So let's throw a low in there.
It's right here.
All right, Matty boy. So we've grabbed the 15 low.
Right.
We're going to go 7 grams of difference.
Oh, okay. Heavier?
So, heavier. Generally speaking, that's kind of one of the ways you make a shaft stiffer is you add more material, beefs up the wall thickness. Dropping you down a little bit in torque, 2.9 degrees of torque. CPM stays the same.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, so consistent CPM in the butt section. So for me, what that tells me is they're adding mass to the tip section. So they're leaving the butt section alone. They're probably just adding mass to the tip section to make it obviously stiffer.
Right.
That's where you get the high-low from. It's 7 grams of mass in the tip.
And that's to stabilize the tip for someone with a bit more speed and or loading pattern?
Correct.
Basically?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's hit a couple of this and let's see if you feel the smoothness, but you get a different feel down at the bottom.
Gotcha. Feel a little stiffer for sure. That's a pretty good hit.
Nice.
That's nice.
That's a nice swing.
Good one. It's nice.
Give us your thoughts on going heavier, lower torque. Do you feel a little bit less twist and movement in the shaft?
Yeah, it definitely feels stiffer.
Yeah.
I probably found the other one a little easier to time just at my current speed.
Yeah.
But given that it was 7 grams heavier, and lower in torque, I think I do feel the torque. I know the butt stiffness isn't really different, but I don't know. It feels a little different, kind of in your hands, waggling it around. But I think it'd be a good kind of tweak to make for the player that's close with that one. Maybe what would you say? A little more aggressive transition. They'd go with the low instead.
No, I would say the kind of person who's snapping the towel, who's maybe not aggressive with the handle, who's leaving the kind of hit to being late.
Okay.
Those are the guys who are going to benefit from going a little more tip stiff.
Oh, okay,
the guys who really sort of deflect it.
Because I'm mixing it up. This is more tip stiff.
This is more tip stiff,
not
but
butt
same
stiff.
in the handle. Yeah.
Right. And the torque is more of a feel thing then, eh?
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's a lovely swing.
Yeah, I think it's just subtly, they've done a good job at making something that feels subtly stiffer, plays stiffer. It's one of the first times I've seen the low version of a shaft produce a bit of a lower ball flight. Kind of seems like it's actually knocked the ball down a bit.
Yeah.
Which is not usually something we see.
Well, we were just chatting there as we were turning over. We're seeing a very, very toe-up model with this one.
Right. So give us the quick Cole's notes. So the softer the tip section, the more the shaft would do this and droop.
Correct. Yeah.
And
The
push
more
the toe down.
the 205 grams of mass on the end of the shaft will pull the sort of head down, trying to get the middle of the head to match up with the middle of the shaft. They're trying to get the CGs to align with one another. So that's going to happen on two axes. That's going to happen in the sort of shaft axis, and it's also going to happen where the head is going to try to deflect forward. So,
and it made sense because it tended to go a little bit more right with a little bit more of a toe up orientation.
And you definitely had a difference with face angle as well. Your face was staying a little more open with the softer tip shaft, and it was a little bit squarer with the stiffer tip shaft.
Interesting.
Something that I've heard other fitters talk about as well. So we are seeing a bit of a deflection model for you here. So the delivered loft is quite different between these two.
Huh.
And that's the thing, if you can validate that the strike is basically the same,
yeah,
then we can start talking about how the shaft influences the delivered loft and things like this.
So we can theorize that it's not deflecting as much lead deflection, so not deflecting as much towards the target?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little tricky because one thing I would expect is if the angle attack to be a little bit higher, if there's more deflection.
Fair.
You know, maybe there's some other modeling sort of reasons for that fact that the angle attack is the same.
Yes.
Definitely faces squarer with less deviation. We can see that.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, dynamic lie angle 1.1 degree. It's not nothing. Speed is the same, so you're not getting more out of a softer shaft. You're not getting more out of a stiffer shaft.
Interesting.
You're just more efficient with a stiffer shaft. That's one thing I do see.
Dude.
Higher ball speed out slightly stiffer shafts.
Interesting.
That's one
So
thing.
the output based on the club head speed.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, guys, the TPT Redline. One thing I will say is, if you're curious, go to their website. I think they've done a phenomenal job with updating the website. There's some great graphs and information and models on there where you can see the weight progression from the high to the low on each series, from the 14 all the way up to the 19. So we have it in the wall. I can't wait for us to get back and get fitting with it once we're allowed to do so.
Still a custom shop only. You can't buy a TPT shaft?
Not an OEM offer.
So you'd use the charts to kind of narrow some options down and then go to your fitter and be fit?
Exactly right.
Love it.
Okay. Guys, nice to be back on the horse doing a product review.
It's great.
It's good. So yeah, worth a look at these if you're in a custom shop. Guys like ourselves, I know Club Champion have it. I know TrueSpec haven't had TPT up until now, so I'm not sure if this will change their mind. The fact that there are some more promises on the quality control side of things. There's a really interesting 30-day money-back guarantee with the shaft, which is a big statement. That's a bold statement on performance. If you don't like it, if it's not working for you, get it back, get your money back.
Some good peace of mind there, I think.
Interesting.
It's a no-brainer. It's great for the customer, it really is.
Everyone likes a little risk reversal, don't they?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, guys, stay tuned. Hopefully we can dive into this a little bit more when we have more testing data, but excited to do more with the TPT Redline. We'll see you again soon.